Dawson Rider Mickey.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review for the large-scale TMNT figures from Rise of the TMNT. This is obviously just for the core 4 turtles. That's all that's out right now. I don't know if they'll do any large scales for anybody else in the future. But yeah, as you can tell, just by the fact that, you know, like these are larger figures. In a lot of ways, they're almost kind of like blown-up versions of the 5-inch ones. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So we got Mikey right here. Oh, also, something I forgot to mention in my review for the basic figures, which is something that continues here. I do like how they have the proportions fairly accurate in terms of the size between the turtles. I feel like the 5-inch figures were a little bit better at that, but I like that they actually paid attention to that, so they're kind of more or less to scale with each other from the show, which, and you know, both like the height and like the size of them, which just continues to like reinforce their individuality, which I think was neat. But yeah, these are, you know, larger figures. They're decently posable. It says very posable on the box or something like that, and they come with a couple different accessories. I got one of Mikey's glowed-up weapons in his hands right here. You got like the little string attaching them, and he's also got another version he comes with and stuff like that. I think I had like these versions in the other review, so I decided to switch it up. But you do have some pretty good articulation if I can get him to get the weapon out of his hand. You have a pretty nice hinge joint here. You got your swiveling. You got a single elbow joint here. You can move his head, which looks super creepy with his face, but you can't move it up and down, which I wish you could do, because the only way his head will move up and down is depending on how you twist it, which it's just like a little thing that makes a difference. You have kind of like a hinge joint here on his leg, which allows it to kind of swivel around. Single knee joint there, a little bit swiveling on the foot. But, you know, decent enough articulation. It could be a little bit better, to be honest, but, you know, not bad. Overall, the details on them are pretty solid. I feel like they seem, it could be just be me, but, you know, I'm talking about all of them. They seem a little less bright than the 5-inch figures, but that, again, it could be me. His facial expression on him and Raph both look like very similar. In fact, they're all fairly similar to the ones in the 5-inch figures, just a little bit tweaked. Mikey looks a little bit more psychotic here, but it works well enough for me. Let's go to Raph now. Let me just kind of move this back so he doesn't knock him out. Obviously the largest of the bunch, given that he's the largest of the crew. They all actually have a nice heft to them, which is like kind of a weird thing to note, but it makes it feel like, oh yeah, this was worth the money. He's got the part of his bandana coming down here. I guess that was a choice was really important to them. His facial expression is, again, very similar to the small scale figure, but it seems a little less weird. Like, it just looks a little bit more like normal, kind of angry, but his eyes do look kind of dead. Again, I think they do a pretty good job of capturing the colors of the animation and the overall spirit of the design, but it's just the facial expressions can be tweaked a little bit. So, like, there's aspects of this one that look a little less weird to me than the 5-inch one, but still looks just kind of weird. You got his weapons here on the side, and you can also put them in little holsters. As you can see, there was one on Mikey there as well. Again, the details are pretty solid on him. Did a pretty good job with the scale. The unique nature of his turtle shell. Oh, I thought I was going to knock Mikey over there for a second. Articulation's pretty much the same thing, just with larger plastic parts because he's, you know, a larger figure. You get a little bit less of the elbow just because of the way that this is designed, and he's got his little bands up here and he's got shoulder bands, so that hinders it a little bit, but it's not an enormous amount of articulation to begin with. Same thing with the head. You can only really get it to turn up and down when you turn it, like, because of the way it is, like it's a little bit more down here, a little more up here. Again, it's just about, like, if you could move it up and down, it just adds a little bit extra personality to it, which is nice. Like, they're decently articulated, but the box really boasts about it, and it's like, come on, it could be better. And I get that they're a little bit more awkward than some things to design that could be more articulated. Here you have Leo. He's a little more svelte, a little bit more slender of the group here. He's got kind of just a smarmy, kind of angry look on his face. Not angry, just kind of stern, I guess. It's very similar to the 5-inch figure one. I feel like I'm talking a lot about facial expressions, but it really will make the figure for me. Pretty much the same articulation base, but he is a little bit less hindered than Raph is, which is nice. No loose joints or anything on these. I think I didn't mention that in the 5-inch review either, but I haven't experienced any loose joint problems, which is actually nice. I got his standard sword on him right now. He also comes with the sort of glowed up, slightly larger version, just like the 5-inch figure. But yeah, overall pretty solid. You know, that's Leo. Jean-Ralphio. Jean-Ralph Leo. Alright, now here's my favorite, Donnie. And here's something I want to highlight right away. that they improved on, in my opinion, from the 5-inch figure, which is he had such a boring, stern expression on his face that really didn't reflect the character's personality in the show for the 5-inch figures. But this one, he's still got a stern look, but if you can see, there's like a raised eyebrow look to it, and like the way the eye goes down, and the face has got, I don't know if this is intentional, but it almost looks like a bit of a smirk. It's still not perfect, but it definitely reflects his personality a lot better than the regular 5-inch one, in my opinion. And you got like the neat little like tech arm bit. I was gonna say armor bit, but like I'm trying to think of the word, gauntlet. That's what it looks like to me. But yeah, they got that on there. You have his little drone back here, which can be attached or detached, just like on the 5-inch figure. Obviously, you can see you got his staff weapon done up in a glowed up purple style. But yeah, he's got his little knee pads there. Pretty much the same articulation as all the others. You can actually move his head up and down a little bit. Maybe it's more on the other ones than I noticed, but it's just right here. Like, it's very, very small. Like, that's up, that's down. It's probably more or less unintentional rather than what I was actually kind of wanting. But yeah, a little bit biased because he's my favorite design of the new ones and favorite character of the new ones, but I do like his the best. I think just because personality-wise, it feels like an improvement over the 5-inch figures. But yeah, these are overall pretty neat. They're not perfect. I feel like they could have expanded on the articulation a little bit more, especially with like the head and stuff. But I think, you know, if kids are really into these big style figures, they'll get a kick out of owning them, or one of their favorite ones. And, you know, they make pretty good display pieces. I think they look all pretty good sitting here together like this. They look good as a group. They represent the animation, color, and personality pretty well. My complaints about the facial expressions aside, and, you know, yeah, they're not bad. It's kind of the way I felt about most things in this line, sans the ninja gear, is that they're not perfect, but I think if you are looking for something specific, I don't think you'd be too disappointed because they're pretty decent. Playmates does a pretty decent job with the toys. Anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, don't forget to climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for all my videos. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.